Captain Daeho Kim looked out at the stars through the main window of his ship. The transport vessel Harmony's Light was carrying precious cargo today. 47 children sat in the passenger area behind him, talking and laughing as they traveled. From the farming colony of New Busan back to their school station. "Dad, can I come see the controls?" His 12-year-old daughter, Young Mi, appeared beside his chair. Her dark eyes sparkled with curiosity as she looked at all the buttons and screens. "Of course, sweetheart." Daeho smiled and lifted her onto his lap. "See this green light? That means our engines are running perfectly. And this screen shows us where we are in space." Young Mi's best friend, Boram Lee, age 11, joined them at the front. "Captain Kim, my uncle says space travel used to be really dangerous. Is that true?" "It was long ago," Daeho said. "But now we have good ships and safe routes. Nothing to worry about." Behind them, the other children were busy with their own activities. 8-year-old Jinwoo Park was drawing pictures of the farm animals they had visited. 16-year-old Hyunsoo Choi was helping some younger kids with their homework. The trip should take 6 more hours, and everyone seemed happy and relaxed. Daeho had made this run dozens of times. The farming colonies always sent their children to the orbital stations for better education. It was a normal part of life in human space. The kids would study for a few months, then visit their families back on the planets, simple and safe. But today would be different. The ship's warning system suddenly made a loud beeping sound. Daeho quickly put Young Mi back in her seat and checked his screens. 3 large ships had appeared nearby. They were not human ships. "Kids, please sit down and put on your safety belts," Daeho called out. His voice stayed calm, but his heart was beating fast. He had never seen ships like these before. They were dark gray with strange angles and bright blue lights. Young Mi looked worried. "Dad, what's wrong?" "Probably just a routine check," he said, but he was already sending out emergency signals. The problem was that they were far from any human military ships. The escort that was supposed to meet them was still hours away. On the largest alien ship, Commander Veltar studied the readings from his sensors. His species, the Catherian hegemony, had been exploring this part of space for several years. They were always looking for new forms of life to study. "Commander, we have detected 48 life forms on that small vessel," reported his officer. "The readings show they are bipedal and appear to be from the species that has been reported in recent weeks." Veltar's 4 eyes focused on the year data. The hegemony had heard about humans, but they knew very little about them. The report said humans were a primitive species that had only recently started traveling between stars. They seemed peaceful and weak. "Are they dangerous?" Veltar asked. "No, sir. Our analysis shows no advanced weapons. The ship appears to be a simple transport vessel." "Excellent. The research division has been wanting specimens from this species. Prepare the capture beams." Back on the Harmony's Light, Daeho was trying everything he could to communicate with the alien ships. He sent messages in the common galactic languages, but got no response. The alien ships were moving closer. "This is Captain Daeho Kim of the human transport vessel Harmony's Light," he broadcast. "We are carrying children back to their school. We mean no harm and request safe passage." Still no answer. Young Mi unbuckled her belt and came forward again. "Dad, you look scared." Daeho pulled her close. "Listen to me carefully. I need you to be very brave, okay? Those ships might want to stop us and ask questions. If that happens, you need to take care of the younger children. Can you do that?" Young Mi nodded, though her eyes were wide with fear. "I can do it." "Good girl. Now go back and tell everyone to stay calm. Tell Hyunsoo I need him to help you." As Young Mi walked back to the other children, Daeho felt a strange tingling sensation. The alien ships were using some kind of technology on them. His engines began to slow down even though he had not touched the controls. "Kids, hold on tight," he shouted. The alien ships surrounded the Harmony's Light. Daeho could not make his ship move anymore. Blue energy beams held them in place like invisible ropes. Commander Veltar watched as his ships captured the human vessel. "Bring them to Station Kethmore. The research division will be pleased." "What about the creatures inside?" asked his officer. Standard Specimen Protocol. Separate them for individual study. The younger ones will be easier to work with. Deho felt his ship being pulled toward one of the alien vessels. The children were crying now, and some of the older ones were asking what was happening. He tried to stay calm for their sake. "Everyone listen," he called out. "We are going to be taken aboard their ship. Stay together and do exactly what Young Mi and Hyun-Soo tell you. Be brave and remember that your families love you." As the Harmony's light was pulled into the alien ship's cargo bay, Deho managed to activate one last system. A small emergency beacon shot out into space before the aliens could stop it. The beacon would send a signal to any human ship that came looking for them. It was not much, but it was hope. The alien ship's cargo bay was huge and dark. Strange machines moved around the Harmony's light as alien beings in environmental suits approached. Deho could see they were tall and thin with 4 arms and large heads. Their faces were covered by masks, but their eyes glowed in the darkness. "Children, stay close together," Young Mi said in a shaky voice. Even though she was scared, she was trying to be brave like her father had asked. Hyun-Soo put his arm around the younger children. "It will be okay," he said, though he did not really believe it himself. The aliens opened the door of their ship and came inside. They carried devices that looked like weapons, but they did not seem to want to hurt the humans. Instead, they pointed scanning devices at everyone. One alien, who seemed to be in charge, made strange clicking sounds. Other aliens responded with more clicks and whistles. It was obviously their language, but the humans could not understand any of it. "Please," Deho said, stepping forward with his hands raised. "These are children. They are young and innocent. If you must take prisoners, take me instead." The aliens looked at him but showed no sign of understanding. One of them touched a device, and Deho suddenly could not move. Some kind of energy field held him in place. "Dad!" Young Mi screamed and tried to run to him, but another alien blocked her way. "It's okay, sweetheart," Deho called out. "Just do what they say and stay safe." The aliens began separating the humans into groups. They seemed to be organizing them by size and age. The youngest children, including Jinwoo, were put in one group. Young Mi, Bo-ram, and the other middle-aged children were put in another group. Hyun-Soo and the teenagers made a third group. Deho was kept separate from everyone. Each group was led to a different part of the alien ship. The children were crying and calling for each other, but the aliens did not seem to care. They treated the humans like objects being moved from one place to another. Young Mi found herself in a white room with 20 other children. The walls were smooth and had no windows. There were simple beds and a few strange devices that might have been for food and water. A shimmering barrier blocked the doorway. When one child tried to touch it, blue sparks appeared and he pulled his hand back quickly. "They put us in a cage," said Bo-ram, her voice very quiet. Young Mi looked around at all the scared faces. Some children were crying. Others sat in corners looking shocked. She remembered what her father had said about being brave and taking care of the others. "Listen, everyone," she said, standing up on one of the beds so they could all see her. "I know, this is scary. I'm scared too, but my dad told me to take care of you, and that's what I'm going to do." "What do they want with us?" asked a 9-year-old girl named Soo-jin. "I don't know," Young Mi admitted. "But I think they don't understand that we're people. They're treating us like animals in a zoo." In another room, Hyun-Soo was having similar thoughts. He was with the older children, and they were all trying to figure out what was happening. "They must think we're some kind of primitive species," said 15-year-old Taeho. "Maybe they've never seen humans before." "But we tried to talk to them," said another boy. "They just ignored us." Hyun-Soo looked at the walls of their prison. They were very smooth, but he noticed tiny lines where panels might open. He also saw small holes that might be for air or surveillance. If they were going to get out of this, they needed to learn as much as possible about their captors. Meanwhile, on the command deck of the alien ship, Commander Veltar was reporting to his superiors. "We have successfully captured 48 specimens of the human species," he said into his communication device. "They appear to be in various stages of development, from juveniles to full adults." "Excellent," came the reply. Research Director. Quendal is eager to begin studies. Are they showing any signs of advanced intelligence? Nothing significant. They make various sounds that might be attempts at communication, but it appears to be simple emotional responses, typical for a primitive species. Very good. Proceed to Station Kethmore. We will prepare the research facilities. Veltar ended the communication and looked out at the stars. He felt satisfied with a job well done. The hegemony was always interested in new forms of life, and these humans seemed like they would pravi. Admiral So Young Han was having coffee in her office when the emergency signal came through. She was the head of Earth's Strategic Command, and she had been expecting a quiet day. The coffee cup froze halfway to her lips as she read the message on her screen. Transport Harmony's light captured by unknown alien force. 47 children aboard. Request immediate assistance. So Young's hands started shaking. She had 3 children of her own, and she knew exactly how those parents would feel when they learned what had happened. She pressed the emergency button on her desk. All department heads to the command center immediately, she announced. Priority Alpha emergency. Within minutes, the command center was full of Earth's top military officers and scientists. General Min-Ho Lee arrived first, still, wearing his exercise clothes from the gym. Dr. Jae-Sung Park ran in right behind him looking worried. What's the situation? Min-Ho asked. So Young displayed the message for everyone to see. The room went completely silent. Dr. Park's face went white as he read the passenger list. Jin-Woo, he whispered. My son Jin-Woo was on that transport. Min-Ho grabbed the doctor's shoulder. We'll get him back. All of them. Do we know who took them? Asked Colonel Wang Soo Kim, the intelligence chief. We're analyzing the beacon's data now, So Young replied. It recorded some information about the attacking ships before it was launched. The analysis took an hour. When the results came back, the news was not good. The ships match the design patterns of the Catherian hegemony, Colonel Kim reported. They're a mid-level galactic power known for scientific research and specimen collection. Dr. Park looked confused. Specimen collection? What does that mean? They study other species, explained Dr. Mira Seo, Earth's chief xenobiologist. The hegemony considers itself scientifically advanced. They capture members of primitive species to learn about them. Primitive? Min-Ho's voice was dangerous. They think humans are primitive? Most galactic civilizations do, Dr. Seo said quietly. We've only been in space for a few decades. To them, we're like children playing with toy rockets. So Young studied the star maps. Where would they take our people? Probably to Station Kethmore, Colonel Kim answered. It's their main research facility in this sector. About 2 weeks away at maximum speed. 2 weeks. So Young felt sick thinking about 47 children trapped on an alien station for that long. What do we know about how they treat their specimens? Dr. Seo looked uncomfortable. The reports we have are not good. They separate subjects by age and size. They run various tests to study behavior, intelligence, and physical capabilities. They don't understand that their subjects might be intelligent beings with families. Dr. Park slammed his fist on the table. They're torturing children, and they don't even realize it? We need to contact the Galactic Council, So Young said. Demand they order the hegemony to release our people. That could take months, Min-Ho warned. The Council moves very slowly, and they might not take our complaint seriously. So Young looked around the room at all the worried faces. These were Earth's best and brightest people, and they all looked helpless. But she knew something they didn't know. Bring up Operation Homecoming files, she ordered. Colonel Kim's eyes went wide. Admiral, those files are classified at the highest level. Not anymore. So Young entered her authorization codes. Gentlemen, it's time to tell you what Earth has really been doing for the past 20 years. The screens around the room lit up with information that most of the people present had never seen before. Ship designs, weapon systems, and fleet deployments that officially did not exist. My God, whispered Dr. Park. We have a real military? 300 ships, Min-Ho said, reading the data. including 12 dreadnoughts with weapons that could crack a planet. The public thinks we only have exploration vessels and colony transports, So Young explained. We've been very careful to maintain that image, but we've been preparing for this day since we first met the galactic community. Dr. Seo was staring at the weapon specifications. These energy cannons are more advanced than anything the hegemony has. How is that possible? Asked Colonel Kim. So Young smiled grimly. Because everyone thinks we're primitive, they don't bother to watch us carefully. They don't know about our research stations hidden in asteroid fields. They don't know about our weapons testing in deep space. They see what we want them to see. So we can fight them? Dr. Park asked hopefully. We can destroy them, Minho corrected. The question is whether we should. They have our children, So Young said simply. That answers the question. She activated the communication system and sent out coded messages to secret bases throughout human space. Within hours, ships that did not officially exist began moving toward hegemony territory. At the same time, So Young sent a message to the Galactic Council demanding an emergency session. She also sent a message directly to the hegemony leadership using diplomatic channels. To the Catherian hegemony, the message said, "You have captured human civilians, including children. Release them immediately or face the consequences. You have 24 hours to respond." The message was polite but firm. It did not mention Earth's military capabilities. That would be a surprise for later. Meanwhile, on Station Kethmore, the human children were learning what it meant to be research specimens. Young Mai woke up when bright lights suddenly filled their room. Alien figures in white coats entered carrying strange devices. One of them, who seemed to be in charge, was taller than the others and had marks on his head that might have been symbols of rank. "What do you want?" Young Mi asked. But the alien just looked at her like she was an interesting bug. The alien leader, Research Director Quendal, made notes on his device as he observed the young humans. To him, they were fascinating creatures. They made complex sounds that might be some form of communication. They showed emotional responses when separated. They even seemed to have some kind of social structure. But they were obviously not intelligent, in any real sense. Real intelligence would have developed better technology and stronger military forces. These creatures had been captured easily, which proved they were primitive. "Begin the behavioral tests," Quendal ordered his assistants. In the hegemony language, the alien started separating the children again. Young Mi tried to stay with the younger ones, but they pushed her away. Boram was taken to a different room. Jinwoo started crying when they pulled him away from the others. "Please don't separate us," Young Mi begged. But the aliens acted like they couldn't hear her. In his own cell, Hyun-soo was watching everything carefully. He had noticed that one of the alien guards seemed different from the others. This one, whose name tag said Meldon, sometimes looked at the human children with what might have been sympathy. When Meldon brought food, Hyun-soo tried a different approach. Instead of speaking in human language, he pointed to himself and said Hyun-soo very slowly. Then he pointed to the alien and raised his eyebrows as a question. Meldon looked surprised. After a moment, he pointed to himself and said, "Meldon," in his clicking language. It was the first real communication between humans and their captors. Back on Earth, the responses to So Young's messages were coming in. The Galactic Council agreed to an emergency session, but it would not happen for 3 days. The hegemony had not responded at all. Dr. Park was getting more worried with each passing hour. "What are they doing to the children right now?" "Running tests," Dr. Seo said sadly. "Probably checking their physical responses to different environments, maybe trying to teach them simple tasks to measure their intelligence." "They're torturing them," Minho said angrily. "They don't think of it as torture," So Young replied. "To them, the children are just animals. They probably think they're being kind by giving them food and shelter. Then we need to teach them differently." So Young looked at the reports coming. In from the secret fleet, ships were moving into position throughout hegemony space. The first attack group would be in range of Station Kethmore in 18 hours. Dr. Park, I need you to prepare a detailed briefing about human psychology and family bonds. Focus on how we react when our children are threatened. What for? He asked. When we contact the Galactic Council, I want them to understand exactly what the hegemony has done, and what we're prepared to do in response. You're going to threaten them? I'm going to educate them. So? Young's smile was cold. They think humans are primitive and weak. They're about to learn how wrong they are. The next few hours passed, slowly. More reports came in from the secret fleet. More intelligence arrived about Station Kethmore and hegemony defenses, and more time passed with the children trapped on the alien station. Finally, a message arrived from the hegemony leadership. It was short and dismissive. The specimens you refer to are being well cared for in our research facilities. They will be returned when our studies are complete. Estimated time, 6 months to 2 years. So, Young read the message to her staff. The room was completely silent for a long moment. Dr. Park was the first to speak. 2 years? They want to keep our children for 2 years? They still don't understand what they've done, Minho said. They really think the children are just animals. So, Young activated the fleet communications. All ships, this is Admiral Han. Operation Homecoming is now active. Proceed to your targets and await further. The Galactic Council chambers had never seen an emergency session like this one. Representatives from dozens of species filled the Great Hall, all talking at once about the strange request from the humans. Most of them had barely heard of Earth before today. Counselor Rixvin, a tall being with silver skin and 3 arms, called for order. As the Council's senior diplomat, he had seen many disputes between species over the years. This one seemed like it should be simple to resolve. We are here to discuss the complaint from the human government regarding the detention of their people by the Catherian hegemony, he announced. Representative Thek Val of the hegemony will speak first. Thek Val was the hegemony's chief diplomat, and he looked annoyed at having to explain such a simple matter. Honored counselors, this is a misunderstanding. We captured specimens of a primitive species for scientific research. This is completely legal under galactic law. Murmurs of agreement came from many representatives. Specimen collection was, indeed, a normal part of scientific research. However, Thekval continued, in the interest of maintaining good relations, we are willing to return the specimens in 18 months, rather than the originally planned 2 years. More murmurs, this time of approval. It seemed like a reasonable compromise. Then Admiral So Young Han entered the chamber. She was smaller than most of the alien representatives, and she looked almost fragile compared to the massive beings around her. But when she spoke, her voice carried across the entire hall. Honored counselors, my name is Admiral So Young Han of the Human Strategic Command. I am here to inform you that the Catherian hegemony has committed an act of war against humanity. The hall erupted in surprised chatter. Thekval actually laughed. An act of war? We collected specimens of a primitive species. Your people should be honored that we find them scientifically interesting. So Young did not react to the laughter or the insults. Instead, she activated a holographic display that showed images of the captured children. These are not specimens, she said calmly. These are our children. Young human beings with families, dreams and futures. The youngest is 8 years old, the oldest is 16. They were traveling to school when your forces attacked their transport. The images showed young Mi helping younger children, Hyun-Soo trying to communicate with the guards, and Jin-Woo crying in his cell. The representatives could see the fear and confusion in their faces. They are obviously intelligent beings. So Young continued. They use language, show emotional bonds, and demonstrate problem-solving abilities. Yet your people treat them like laboratory animals. Thekval waved dismissively. They make sounds and show basic emotions. Many animals do the same thing. True, intelligence requires advanced technology and military power. These humans have neither. Is that what you believe? So, Young asked, that intelligence is measured by military power? Of course. A truly intelligent species would have developed proper defenses. These humans were captured easily, which proves they are primitive. So Young smiled, and something about that smile made several representatives feel uncomfortable. I see. Then perhaps we should discuss human military capabilities. She activated another display. This one showed star charts with moving dots representing ships. These are the positions of human military vessels as of 1 hour ago. So Young said. The display showed hundreds of ships throughout hegemony space, ships that had appeared seemingly from nowhere and were moving toward key hegemony installations. Thekval's confidence began to fade. Impossible. Our intelligence shows that humans have no significant military force. Your intelligence is wrong. The display zoomed in on one group of ships approaching a hegemony mining station. The lead ship was massive, easily twice the size of the largest hegemony vessel. This is the dreadnought Indomitable, commanded by Captain Sung Ho Nam. It is one of 12 such ships in the human fleet. Each one carries enough firepower to destroy a small moon. The hall had gone completely silent. Even Counselor Rixvan was staring at the display in shock. How is this possible? Thekval demanded. We have monitored human space for years. We have seen only civilian transports and exploration vessels. Because that is what we wanted you to see, So Young replied. While you were dismissing us as primitive, we were building. While you were ignoring us, we were preparing. We learned long ago that the galaxy is not a safe place for peaceful species. She changed the display again. This time it showed detailed specifications for human weapon systems. These are plasma cannons capable of punching through any known shielding. These are quantum torpedoes that can track targets through hyperspace. And these are nova bombs that can crack the crust of a planet. Dr. Velzak, a scientist from the peaceful Altarian Republic, spoke up nervously. Surely you don't intend to use such weapons against civilian targets? So Young's expression softened slightly. Of course not. We are not monsters. But the Catherian hegemony has taken our children. In human culture, that is the one act that justifies any response. You would start a war over 47 individuals? Thekval asked. We would burn down civilizations for one human child, So Young said simply. That is what you have failed to understand. You think intelligence is measured by military power? Then let me explain human intelligence to you. The display changed to show images of human families, schools, and communities. Humans evolved as pack hunters on a dangerous world. Our greatest survival trait was not individual strength, but our ability to work together to protect our young. A human parent will die before allowing harm to come to their child. A human community will sacrifice everything to save their children. She looked directly at Thekval. You have not captured 47 specimens. You have threatened the offspring of a species that has survived by being absolutely ruthless in defense of its young. You have awakened something that you are not prepared to face. Counselor Rixvan tried to regain control of the situation. Admiral Han, surely this matter can be resolved through negotiation. The hegemony has offered to reduce the research period to 18 months. 18 months? So Young's voice was deadly quiet. Counselor, let me make something very clear. Every day that our children remain in hegemony custody, human forces will destroy one major hegemony installation. Every week they remain captive. We will eliminate one hegemony world from their empire. You're talking about genocide, Thekval shouted. No, So Young corrected. I'm talking about consequences. You chose to treat human children as laboratory animals. Now you get to discover what happens when you threaten the young of an apex predator species. At that moment, alarms began sounding throughout the council chambers. Emergency messages were coming in from across the galaxy. Counselor Rixvan read the first report, his face growing pale. The hegemony mining station at Kelvar 3 has been destroyed, no survivors. More reports flooded in. A hegemony patrol fleet had been eliminated near the Vortex Nebula. A research facility on hegemony primes, Third Moon, had been reduced to space debris, all within the past hour. This is impossible, Thekval said, his voice shaking. Our defenses are the strongest in this sector. So Young checked her personal communicator. Captain Nam reports that the Kelvar 3 station surrendered after a brief demonstration of the Indomitable's firepower. The station personnel were evacuated before the facility was destroyed. We are not interested in unnecessary casualties. Then why destroy it at all? Demanded another representative. To make a point, So Young said. The hegemony believes that military power determines intelligence. We are showing them what real military power looks like. She activated the display one more time. It now showed real-time footage from human fleet cameras. Massive ships with sleek, deadly designs moved through space like predators hunting prey. Their weapons were unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. This is the human fleet, So Young announced. 300 ships built in secret over the past 20 years. They are faster, stronger, and more advanced than anything in hegemony space, and every single one of them has orders to destroy any hegemony target that refuses to surrender. Captain Sung Ho Nam's voice came through the chamber's speakers. Admiral, this is Indomitable. We have reached Station Kethmore, requesting permission to begin rescue operations. Negative, Captain. Stand by for further orders. So Young turned back to the council. Station Kethmore is where our children are being held. One word from me and Captain Nam will reduce it to scrap metal. But first, I want to give the hegemony one last chance to do the right thing. Tekval was sweating now, despite the cool temperature in the chamber. What? What do you want? Release our children immediately. All 47 of them, unharmed, and return to their families. In exchange, human forces will withdraw from hegemony space, and we will consider this matter closed. And if we refuse, So Young's smile was like ice. Then you will discover what happens when humans go to war. We will not stop until the Catherian hegemony is a footnote in galactic history. The silence in the chamber was complete. Representatives from dozens of species stared at the small human woman who had just threatened to destroy an entire galactic power. Finally, Councillor Rixvan spoke. Representative Thekval, I strongly advise you to contact your government immediately. This situation requires immediate attention. But Thekval was already. The rescue operation should have been simple. Captain Sung Ho Nam positioned the Indomitable near Station Kethmore and opened communications with the station commander. The hegemony had agreed to release the children, and everything seemed to be going according to plan. But Research Director Quendall had different ideas. I will not release my specimens, he told Station Commander Thekval privately. This research is too important. These creatures show remarkable adaptability. I need more time to study them. The Council has ordered their release, Thekval replied. The humans have threatened to destroy our entire civilization. Let them try. This station has the strongest defenses in the sector, and once I prove how valuable these specimens are, the Council will thank me for protecting them. Thekval knew he should override Quendall's authority, but the research director had powerful friends in the government. If the research really was as important as he claimed, challenging him could end Thekval's career. So when Captain Nam requested permission to dock and collect the children, Thekval stalled. We need more time to prepare the specimens for transport, he told the human captain. They require special medical attention after their time in our research facilities. On the Indomitable, Captain Nam frowned at this delay. He had orders to retrieve the children quickly and safely. Any delay increased the risk that something could go wrong. Station Kethmore, we have medical facilities aboard our ship. Please begin transferring the children immediately. Negative, Indomitable. We estimate 6 hours to properly prepare them. Captain Nam activated his private channel to Admiral Han. Something's wrong here, Admiral. They're stalling. Back on Earth, So Young felt a cold dread settling in her stomach. What's your assessment, Captain? I think someone on that station doesn't want to let the children go. Request permission to board and retrieve them by force. Negative. We need to handle this carefully. One wrong move, and they might hurt the children out of spite. But while the humans tried to negotiate, Quendall was making a terrible decision. He decided to move his most interesting specimen to a more secure location. Young Mai had shown the most complex responses during testing, and he was not willing to give her up. Transfer the small female to Laboratory 7, he ordered his assistants. Use the deep containment protocols. Laboratory 7 was in the most secure part of the station, designed for dangerous experiments. The containment systems there were much stronger, but they were also more harmful to living creatures. The air was different, the water was recycled through chemical filters, and the energy fields were stronger. Young Mi was unconscious when they moved her. She had collapsed during the latest round of environmental testing, and her body was already weakened from days of stress and poor conditions. The transfer to Laboratory 7 would be the worst thing that could happen to her. Meanwhile, Hyun-soo was still trying to get information from Meldon. The alien technician had become more and more upset as he watched the humans suffer. His people's research methods were designed for simpler life forms, not for intelligent beings with complex emotional needs. "Where is young Mi?" Hyun-soo asked, in his broken hegemony language. "The small female with dark hair?" Meldon looked around nervously. "Quendal moved her to Laboratory 7. He says she is too valuable to release." Hyun-soo felt his blood turn cold. He had seen what happened to other specimens that were taken to Laboratory 7. They usually didn't come back. "I must contact my people," Hyun-soo said urgently. "The humans outside. They need to know." "Impossible. Communications are blocked from the specimen areas." "Then you must tell them, please. She will die in Laboratory 7. Meldon was faced with the hardest decision of his life. His entire career was built on following orders and maintaining discipline. But he had been watching these young humans for days, and he could no longer pretend they were just animals. Their emotions, their attempts to help each other, their obvious intelligence, it was all too clear. "I will try," he whispered, then hurried away before anyone could see him talking to the specimens. On the Indomitable, Captain Nam was growing more impatient by the hour. His sensors showed that there was movement inside the station, but the aliens kept insisting they needed more time. Something was definitely wrong. Then an unexpected message came through on a maintenance frequency. It was from someone on the station speaking in broken human language. "Human ship, one of your young females, taken to dangerous place. Research Director Quendal refuses to release. She is in great danger." Captain Nam immediately contacted Admiral Han. "Admiral, we have a problem. It sounds like they've moved one of the children to a more secure location. They may not be planning to release all of them." So Young's worst fears were coming true. "Can you identify which child?" "Negative, but whoever sent the message seemed very concerned about her safety." So Young made a decision that would change galactic history. "Captain Nam, you are authorized to use any means necessary to retrieve our people. All of them." "Understood, Admiral. All means necessary." Captain Nam activated the ship's general quarters alarm. Throughout the Indomitable, human soldiers and Marines prepared for battle. This was not going to be a peaceful rescue anymore. "Station Kethmore, this is Captain Nam of the Indomitable. You have 30 minutes to release all 47 human children, unharmed and ready for transport. If you fail to comply, we will board your station and take them by force." "You cannot threaten us," came the angry reply from Station Commander Thekval. "This is a sovereign hegemony facility. You have 29 minutes. On the station, panic was beginning to spread. The human ship was much larger than anything they had ever faced, and reports from other parts of hegemony space told of devastating human attacks on military installations. Station Commander Thekval tried to contact Research Director Quendal. "Release all the specimens immediately. The humans are threatening to attack." "Let them come," Quendal replied arrogantly. "Our defenses will hold, and I will not give up my research." "You fool! Don't you understand what's happening across our territory? The humans are destroying everything we've built." But Quendal was lost in his scientific obsession. He had made what he considered breakthrough discoveries about human psychology and adaptability. In his mind, this research was more important than politics or military threats. In Laboratory 7, Young Mai was slowly dying. The harsh conditions were too much for her already weakened body. The air burned her lungs, the water made her sick, and the energy fields caused constant pain. She was unconscious most of the time now, her body shutting down to protect itself. Hyun-soo could sense that something terrible was happening. Even though he was locked in a different part of the station, the older boy had developed a strong protective instinct toward the younger children, especially young me, who had tried so hard to keep everyone's spirits up. When Meldon appeared at his cell again, Hyun-soo grabbed the bars of his prison. "Is she alive?" he asked desperately. Meldon's expression was grim. "Barely. The Laboratory 7 environment is too harsh for your species. Quendal refuses to move her." "Then I have to get to her." "Impossible. The security systems—" "Meldon, listen to me." Hyun-soo's voice was urgent but calm. "The humans outside are not just here to negotiate, they are warriors. When they come aboard this station, they will kill everyone who has harmed their children. You can help them or you can die with the others, but either way they are coming." The alien technician understood. He had seen the human ship's weapon systems. He knew what they were capable of. "What do you want me to do?" "Get me to Laboratory 7. Help me reach young me, and when the humans board this station, tell them that you helped us." Meanwhile, the 30-minute deadline was approaching. Captain Nam had his boarding teams ready and his weapons charged. General Min-ho Lee had arrived on the Indomitable with a full company of Earth's best Special Forces soldiers. "Remember," Min-ho told his troops, "our priority is the children. Everything else is secondary, but anyone who has harmed those kids answers to us." The deadline passed with no response from the station. "All ships, this is Captain Nam. Begin the assault." The Indomitable's main guns opened fire on Station Caithmore's defensive systems. The alien shields lasted less than 30 seconds against the concentrated firepower. Weapons platforms exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Boarding pods launched from the human ship, carrying assault teams directly to key sections of the station. The hegemony defenders tried to resist, but their weapons were no match for human military technology. General Min-ho Lee led the team heading for the research sections. They cut through the station's hull like it was paper and fought their way toward the detention areas. The aliens they encountered were not evil beings, just researchers and guards who had been following orders. Most of them surrendered quickly when they realized how outmatched they were, but a few tried to fight, and those were eliminated with ruthless efficiency. In the research section, Meldon was helping Hyun-soo navigate the maintenance tunnels toward Laboratory 7. The alien had disabled several security systems and provided access codes that allowed them to move through the station. "The laboratory is just ahead," Meldon whispered. "But there are guards." "How many?" "4. They have energy weapons." Hyun-soo thought for a moment. "Hiwi." The news of Young Mi's death spread across the galaxy faster than any ship could travel. Within hours, every civilization knew that the humans had declared total war against the Caitherian hegemony. What they didn't understand was what that really meant. Admiral So Young-han stood before the Galactic Council once again, but this time her message was very different. The chamber was packed with representatives who had come to witness what they thought would be a negotiation to end the conflict. They were wrong. "Honored counselors," So Young began, her voice calm but carrying an undertone that made everyone in the chamber feel cold. "I am here to inform you that the Caitherian hegemony is no longer recognized as a legitimate government by humanity." Counselor Rixvin tried to maintain diplomatic calm. "Admiral, surely the death of one individual, tragic as it may be, does not justify the complete destruction of an entire civilization." So Young looked at him with eyes like ice. "Counselor, you still don't understand what happened. They didn't just kill one individual, they murdered a child. They tortured 47 innocent children and killed one of them through deliberate negligence and cruelty." She activated a holographic display that showed the last moments of Young Mi's life. The girl lying unconscious in Laboratory 7, her small body failing under the harsh conditions that Research Director Quendal had subjected her to. This is 12-year-old Young Mi Kim. She died because an alien scientist decided that his research was more important than her life. She died because the Caitherian hegemony views human children as expendable laboratory animals. The chamber was completely silent. Even representatives from warrior species looked uncomfortable watching the footage. The hegemony had multiple chances to release our children safely, So Young continued. Instead, they chose to continue their torture. They chose to prioritize their scientific curiosity over the lives of innocents. They chose war. Representative Thekval, who had somehow survived the destruction of Station Kethmore, stood up desperately. Admiral, surely your people's sense of justice can be satisfied with appropriate punishment for those responsible. Research Director Quendal has been captured. He can be tried and executed if necessary. He will be tried, So Young agreed. But his punishment is only the beginning. The hegemony government authorized the capture of our children. The hegemony military carried out the attack. The hegemony leadership refused to release them when given the chance. The entire system is guilty. She changed the display to show current fleet positions throughout hegemony space. The human forces had grown even larger, with ships appearing from hidden bases that the galaxy had never suspected existed. As of this moment, human forces control 37 hegemony systems. All military installations in those systems have been destroyed or captured. All government facilities have been eliminated. Civilian populations have been evacuated to safe zones and are unharmed. Dr. Velsak from the Altarian Republic spoke up nervously. Admiral, this level of military action suggests capabilities that far exceed what any of us suspected. How long has humanity been preparing for this kind of war? Since the day we first met galactic civilization, So Young replied simply. We learned quickly that the galaxy is not a safe place for peaceful species, so we decided to become the most dangerous species in the galaxy, while appearing to be harmless. The implications of this statement sent shockwaves through the chamber. If humans had been hiding their true capabilities for decades, what other species might be doing the same thing? But why reveal yourselves now? Asked another representative. Because they touched our children, So Young said, and her voice carried a finality that made everyone in the chamber understand that this was not negotiable. There is no crime worse than harming the innocent. There is no forgiveness for those who torture children. Counselor Rixvan tried one more diplomatic approach. Admiral, what would it take for humanity to consider ending this conflict? So Young considered the question carefully. The complete surrender of the Catherian hegemony government, the trial and execution of everyone responsible for authorizing or carrying out the attack on our children, the dismantling of their military forces, and the establishment of the Children's Covenant. What is the Children's Covenant? A galactic law that makes any attack on the children of any species a crime against all species. Any government that harms children, or allows children to be harmed, will face the combined military force of every civilized world. The chamber erupted in discussion. Such a law would fundamentally change how galactic politics worked. It would give species like humanity a legal justification to intervene anywhere children were being harmed. You're talking about creating a galactic police force, observed one representative. No, So Young corrected. We're talking about creating a galactic conscience. A reminder that some things are more important than politics or profit or scientific curiosity. Meanwhile, the war against the hegemony was proceeding with terrible efficiency. Captain Sung Ho Nam's fleet had reached the hegemony homeworld of Kithanos and delivered their ultimatum. Surrender all government officials responsible for the children's capture or face planetary bombardment. The hegemony government tried to negotiate, but the humans were no longer interested in half measures. When the planet's leaders refused to surrender, the human fleet began systematically destroying every government and military facility on the surface. The bombardment was precise and limited. Civilian areas were untouched, and evacuation warnings were given before each strike. But the message was clear. The Catherian hegemony as a political entity was being erased from existence. General Minho Lee led ground forces that secured key facilities and captured government officials. The trials would be swift and thorough, with full documentation of the crimes committed against the human children. But the most important trial was happening on the Indomitable, where Research Director Quendal faced Captain Dae-Ho Kim and the other parents of the children he had tortured. Do you understand what you did? Dae-Ho asked the alien scientist, his voice shaking with controlled rage. Quendal remained defiant. I was conducting legitimate scientific research. Your offspring showed remarkable adaptability. The data I gathered was invaluable, You killed my daughter. One specimen out of 47. The knowledge gained justified the loss. The words hung in the air like poison. Even the alien's own defense counsel looked horrified at his complete lack of remorse. Dr. Jae-sung Park, who had been reunited with his son Jin-woo, spoke next. Do you have children of your own? My species reproduces differently. We do not. Form the emotional attachments that your species displays. Then you will never understand why you deserve to die. The trial continued for 3 days, with testimony from all the surviving children and complete documentation of the conditions they had endured. Hyun-soo Choi, now 17 and serving as a witness for the prosecution, described the systematic cruelty he had witnessed. They treated us like laboratory rats, he said. They separated us from each other, subjected us to painful tests, and ignored our suffering. When young Mi got sick from their contaminated water, they moved her to an even worse place instead of helping her. Bo-rum Lee, young Mi's best friend, testified about the last conversation she had with the girl before they were separated. She told me to be brave and help the younger children. She said her father had taught her that humans always protect each other. Even when she was scared and sick, she was trying to take care of others. The verdict was never in doubt. Kwendal was found guilty of murder, torture, and crimes against sentient beings. The sentence was death, to be carried out by spacing, ejection into the vacuum of space. But before the sentence was carried out, Captain Dae-ho was given a few minutes, alone with his daughter's killer. She wanted to be a teacher, he told Kwendal quietly. She loved learning about new things and helping others understand them. She would have been a good teacher. Your emotional responses are fascinating, Kwendal replied. Even now, facing the loss of offspring, you maintain complex behavioral patterns. Dae-ho stared at the alien for a long moment. You really don't understand, do you? You don't understand what you destroyed. I understand that primitive species form irrational attachments that, Dae-ho turned away. Execute him. The execution was broadcast throughout the galaxy. Every species watched as humanity demonstrated that there were consequences for harming their children. The message was clear and unmistakable. Within 6 weeks, the Catherian hegemony had collapsed completely. Their government was gone, their military was destroyed, and their territory was divided among neighboring species under human supervision. The rapid and total victory shocked the galaxy and forced every civilization to reconsider their assumptions about humanity. The Children's Covenant was ratified by the Galactic Council with only 3 dissenting votes. The species that voted against it found themselves facing diplomatic isolation and trade sanctions from the growing coalition of worlds that supported the new law. Admiral So Young-han was appointed as the first director of the Galactic Protection Fleet with a mandate to investigate and respond to any reports of harm to children anywhere in known space. Captain Sung-ho Nam was given command of the Enforcement Division, with a fleet of ships specifically designed